I keep playing these stories back and forth in my head of different things that I may be able to do to contribute to not just society, but also people that are struggling with these different conditions, albeit migraines, chronic fatigue syndrome, anxiety and depression, all these conditions that doctors on the outside say everything's fine, but internally know that there's something going on. I am now making content to be able to spread awareness around these neurological conditions and show people that it actually stems from the central nervous system. Despite the fact that the traditional medical model has often overlooked these different things, I'm here to tell you that there's actually something that's going on, and most importantly, there's actually something we can do about it. They're doing all the different tests, but they're looking in the wrong place, and that place is your central nervous system. I'm also at a point in my career where I'm having people come from all over. I'm having people fly in from different states. I'm talking to different people from different parts here in Arkansas. And with me being located in central Arkansas, I'm starting to notice that I'm going to be limited to the amount of people that I can serve with my two hands. So I want to be able to provide content for people around their central nervous system, despite the fact if I see them or not within a clinical setting. For those of you that are new here, my name is Dr. Cameron Daniels. I'm a chiropractic specialist here in Little Rock, Arkansas, where I focus on neurological-based condition and coach people with their nervous systems from a place of dis-ease to a place of being at ease, and provide them the ability to live beyond the expectations that they have for themselves. So when I look throughout my life, there's multiple different key areas in my life that when I take a step back and look at have shaped me into the person, not just that I am today, but the person of how I practice as a full-time clinician. One of these moments is when I was in undergrad. I actually was in there to be a physical therapist. I wanted to be able to see people within the specialty of physical therapy, but then after taking a couple physical therapy classes and talking with physical therapists, I had realized very, very quickly this is not something I want to do the rest of my life. I'm not knocking physical therapists. They're great at what they do. That particular realm of work is just not something that I wanted to specialize in. And so full circle, so I was in a very tough spot. A tough spot because I was already kind of deep in the trenches of pre-physical therapy, but didn't want to do it. So I was talking to one of my good friends in undergrad, and he was telling me that he wasn't going to be a physical therapist, which he originally went to school for. He was going to be a chiropractor. And I remember thinking, what was a chiropractor? I had not heard of a chiropractor my entire life up until this moment. And my girlfriend, my now wife, Megan, was like, I never thought about that. You would love being a chiropractor. And I said, why is that? She says, because you love the nervous system. You love being personable with people. And this is exactly what a chiropractor is. It's a nervous system provider. So that's exactly what I did. I looked into it. I saw online how there were a bunch of quacks and all these different forums saying the ghost stories, all these different things. And I was like, this is pretty fascinating, but let me check it for myself. And I went to go shadow a chiropractor, and it was that day I realized this is what I'm doing the rest of my life. The lesson that I learned from this is that we read even in scripture, a man can determine his plans, but the Lord determines his steps. I was trying to fit a square peg in a round hole that just wasn't working. But also a big lesson from this is to be receptive of what it is that people you love most are saying to you. If I would not have listened to my girlfriend, now wife, at the time, then I would be doing something I'm not genuinely passionate about. And that actually scares me. So I'm very thankful that I was receptive to what it is that Megan was trying to tell me. So if you're struggling from transitioning treatments, you're currently doing one thing for your chronic condition and it's not working, and your people are telling you to do something different, this type of transition is the very thing that you may want to do. Listen to those that you love. They're trying to tell you something that they feel is beneficial to you, and it may just be the very thing that you need. Number 2, COVID. COVID was a key moment in my life. The COVID-19 pandemic not just rattled the entire world, but it rattled me as well. I started seeing the way that people were responding to this COVID situation, and how there were some people that just believed that it was just completely fake or false, and then you had other people that believed that this was going to be the disease that eradicated the human existence. For me, I started seeing the different dichotomy of how people were acting, and that's when it hit me. Whatever the masses are saying, do some research into the alternative, because that's actually where the truth may lie. This term is called contrarian. Contrarian just means, being contrary to what it is the popular belief is. COVID was a pretty infectious disease, but the reality is that it wasn't as bad as people thought it was. You could get tested for COVID and test positive and have no symptoms, and you can have all the symptoms under the sun as COVID, get tested, and it's negative. But what's up with that? This demonstrates the importance of testing. So if you're on the medical hamster wheel, you've gotten the MRIs, you've done the EEGs, you've done the EMGs, you've done all these different tests to be able to determine, is there a neurological component or is there something that I'm missing in relation to my chronic health concern? I'm telling you, testing is important, but it's not necessarily a definitive answer. We need to look at two different aspects. We need to look at who you are as an individual and the symptoms that you're experiencing, and then rule in or out different tests that we see to determine if it's something that clinician's actually beneficial at helping. So if you're on the medical hamster wheel, consider all the different forms of tests that you've done and see clarity around them to try to determine, did it rule anything in or did it rule anything out? And then keep going until the tests match the actual symptoms that we find. And last but not least, the third key moment that has shifted my entire perspective, it was moving here to Arkansas. I'm a Yankee. I'm from Michigan. I'm a Michigander. I love Michigan. Michigan's a cool place to be from, but it's not a cool place to say. That's what my wife and I we like to say. Tennessee was the place that we were looking at. And I was sitting there praying one day about, Lord, where do you want me to go? I wanted to be able to go where the Lord wanted me to go, but I was so tied to Tennessee that I almost missed the opportunity here in Arkansas. And it wasn't until I had the opportunity to come fly down here to Arkansas and experience it when it hit me. I was not open-minded to the opportunities that had been presented to me until that moment. And that's the lesson learned. Ultimately, you can get into this concept of analysis paralysis, but just make a decision, live with the consequences of that decision, whether it's good or whether it's bad. I trusted that in moving here to Arkansas, because I was so tied to Tennessee, there was a piece of me that didn't want to come here, but I decided to tell myself and tell my wife, we're going to go down there, and if it doesn't work out, we'll be exactly where we need to be because God will direct us there. But if it does work out, then again, we're in the same place, right? We're exactly where we need to be. So let's just go. So we packed our bags and we moved down here to Little Rock, Arkansas. So it's just that. If you're experiencing indecision around your health concerns, if you have multiple different treatment options that you're looking at, just make a decision for one of them. Try not to get into analysis paralysis. Try not to get into the fluff of things. Just look at it, make a decision, live with the consequences of it, and then let's reverse engineer ourselves back to reality as we continue to navigate each of these treatment options. Like I've said, what you can expect from this channel moving forward is content around central nervous system regulation, especially for those that are stuck in the loop of symptoms that no one can seem to explain. I look forward to producing more content in the future to be able to provide you the ability to live beyond expectation as it results to your nervous system being regulated.